At the boom. Boom. Grand Rising. Greetings, Rastafari greetings. Humble greetings. To those tuned in the future, present, on cable. Give thanks and prayers. Another Friday. It's supposed to be a free up Friday. That's the vibe we was trying to promote. Free up Fridays on Welcome2dCyfa. I was trying to get that started and was hopeful to keep that running. Free up Friday. But this Friday I don't know. I'm finding it difficult to free up. Feeling it difficult. This Friday I'm finding it difficult to free up. I don't know how everybody else is feeling, but yes. Welcome to dCyfa. Another day, another Friday. What we're gonna do? So I've been meditating. Raise up early in the morning. Still windy. Wind blowing hard. Trying to figure out, what we should deal with. What's the most pertinent topic? And I felt we're definitely dealt with this week. We'll put some serious issues on the table. We'll dealt with them. Put all our cards on the table. Essentially, definitely not all our cards, but we'll put some significant cards on the table. We played some serious cards, and so I wanted to dress back from that issue. Definitely the whole coronavirus pandemic response issue. Stress back from that and see how we can tackle that more effectively. I'm gonna definitely come with some very relevant, pertinent information to that whole situation, the foundation of it next week. Next week we're gonna go into the foundation of it. But this Friday, I'm finding it difficult to free up and keep that free up vibe going. So, being as though we are facing some serious issues on this island outside of the coronavirus, we don't want to let that issue overwhelm all our reality, and we become further desensitized to the conditions that affect some more than others on this island, particularly our youth. I want to focus on our youth today in this concept of Free Up Fridays. Our youth, they should be first off living a free up lifestyle in this time. They should be able to free up, but they can't free up on several levels. Our younger youth are experiencing reality through this mask around their face. For the majority of the time, they see people in this being comfortable being masked up. Presents a lot of social issues for our young people growing up. But our teenagers and young adults are also having a real difficult time outside of this coronavirus issue. The last 20 odd years, the gun violence situation has really it's significant here, and to the point. This is what originally brought me to Fresh. Last year this time, or a little earlier, it was actually towards the end of February, beginning of March. We're in April now. So it's been a year on, and we're still facing these same situations. And I'm wondering if so I posed the questions and I put it out there on the flyer for today, the banner, the poster for today, but we put across the screen here. Promised loss, when will it end? So I had started a series, the intention to do a series on this, and I interviewed some people and whatnot. I want to do some more editing of that piece. But I'm going to just come in live with the topic right here today. Promised loss. When will it end? When will we realize, our young people, that is the goal? Their future, their youth, their ability to live free and experience reality openly and so they can explore their creativity and express themselves. I'm worried about the future that they will have in a reality where fear is being piped at them from every angle. Fear of your somebody could be carrying this invisible enemy, which will continue to change. They'll, with this, the way the healthcare system set up, they're going to be continue to confront that issue of these different germs, or enemies, invisible enemies that's going to attack them. So they got that in their minds. But when did murder become an acceptable option for conflict resolution? That's the real question. Strung out. I should probably put that into a banner. Didn't put it on the flyer. But when did murder become an acceptable option? Was it acceptable for us growing up? People in our age group, did that go through your mind when you had a conflict with somebody? When you know what I mean? Somebody was talk bad about you in school or outside, you know what I mean? Out in our social interactions, whether it was sports related or you know what I mean? And we had conflict. Has conflict changed? Or the options that we choose to pursue to resolve conflict? I'm wondering, when did this change take place and when did it become acceptable that you would feel it necessary to take somebody's life to solve the conflict you're having with them? When did that become, you know what I mean, an acceptable option? When exactly? I'm referring to in time, but also theoretically as options, appear. What would have allowed that to enter into our young people's, decision-making processes. There's also something, psychologically taking place there. But when in time did it start? Did we as a people start to think this is the direction to solve our issues? Because our young people are part of us. We got to let that generational piece go. We're in a certain, we start talk about millennials and things, but it's continuous. People are born every day, right? When did that creep in? This idea that, when did it creep in? This idea, I lost that thing. The idea that you could take somebody off the face of the earth. Not give them a chance to come back tomorrow and argue about it. Because that was the big thing. You had a little, you had an issue at a dance or something, or, you know what I mean? Somebody dissed you, talked about you. I beat up one of your your friends, family, cousins or something, some sort of violence, you know what I mean? Something happened that you felt wasn't the, that y'all gotta step in. When did murder come on the table? Look, go get that gun. So that's gonna solve the issue. Huh? So I put that out there as a discussion topic for today. Not too much free up. It's not a free up. What I'm saying is that our young people can free up like we freed up. So today, this Free Up Friday, I want to not free up and explore why our young people can't free up. So it's a not free up Friday. Yeah, when did that become a viable option? An acceptable option? Murder. Take somebody's life. Who gave you the authority to go down that road? You know what I mean? Now I know situations happen. I can remember not to go into names a lot, but one of my best friends growing up on Cottage Hill, Bayless Bay. One of my best friends, his older brother, there's only two of them. His older brother got stabbed. When we were young, you know what I mean? He got stabbed. It was one of them early murders. And we had several, knife type things about throughout the years growing up. You can count them on your hands how many of them happened. But when did we transition to guns? And guns has this premeditatedness. Knife, I knew people that carried knives on them. When tension was hot, they'd carry a knife, you know what I mean? I knew people that was going through their minds. Cutlass, had to have his cutlass hanging on his pant leg, going on, and all that type of ignorance, stashing it off somewhere, That was going on. That was happening. But when did, you know what I mean? But that even was defensive in a sense. You didn't take it out, I'm going to just go straight to somebody's yard. And okay, Hailey, I'm gonna come to your comment in a second. Let's get into the breathing. Let's get into I was introducing the topic, putting it into your mind state. Let's think about this brother that was this young man that lost his life this week. Let's take that in our meditations and send some energy to him, his family, support them and what they're going through in this senseless crimes as we do our meditation this morning, and keep building on this skill set. And then we'll get into the comments, and I definitely want some interaction between us. Hailey, if you could, I'm gonna send you the link, Hailey. If you will come in, it'll be vibes if you're around. If you could come in. So let's do the meditation first. Actually, I'm going to email that to you real quick, just in case you're in a space where you can come in. You can set up and at any time. You know what I mean? It's up to you. But your contribution would be, in Friday, let's make this a thing. Oh, that ran the right one. And I'll talk to you about it afterwards. Let's see. Sure. And let's continue this conversation. But as we go into your meditation, so set yourselves up. I'm gonna pull up the meditation in a second, and we're gonna build on this. We're building this capacity to tap into deep breathing, right? To tap into the source. That's the core what we're doing here. We want to we're facilitating flow, these open conversations, open dialogues where we can pursue options and solutions that are obviously not being pursued overall, right? Because we got problems in our society, on this rock, Cedar Rock, I mean, nuAtlantis, aka Bermuda. We got problems there. We got some serious ingrained problems. And the way to get to them solutions I'm proposing here is meditation, deep breathing, mindfulness, tapping into the source. So let's continue building that skill. Let me send out this email to Hailey. See if he'll join us today, if he's available. Okay, email that to you, Hailey, if you're available. Yes, give thanks. Yes, Brother Richie, give thanks. Give thanks for the heart vibes. I tuned in a little bit of your live, Brother Richie. I tuned in a bit of your live. There was some vibes on Good Friday last week. Yes. So as we continue, let's build up this capacity. Let's get into our deep breathing. Let's try to reach 14. We're on 12. We're going to try to build up our capacity each day. Like I said, I eventually see we're just meditating. This hill, we just come together, meditate. The conversation will take care of itself eventually. Yes, Brother Richie. Yes, give thanks. Give thanks. You know that. The same cause. And you could join in too. I can send you the link same way, Brother Richie. If you want to come in the conversation and get in on this topic of promised laws, I send you the link directly. Tell me where you want me to send it. And you could come up here on the screen for however long you got. Get in this conversation. This is an open space for this. But let's get the breathing done and deal with that and get that out of the way so we're tuned in. Tuned in to the source. That's the key piece. Let's get into this. The instructions on the screen. We're doing 4x4 breathing. Right? Holding 4 each step. Find a nice place. Sit with your back erect. And let's go. Close your eyes and repeat in your mind the mantras. Okay. How that feel? How that feel? How does that feel for you? Why is my mic? Can't hear my mic. Yeah, how did that feel? How that feel? How that got you feeling? Let's pull that up. Let's pull that up. I'm wondering why I'm lost my sound. Can you hear me? Can you hear me out there? Give me some indication if you can hear me. I'm not sure. I can't hear myself right now. Turn that up. Oh, okay, got you. Got me. Back. Yeah. All right, tuned in. I think I turned down the wrong thing just now. Regardless. Turned down my monitor instead of the sound. So, yes, as we get into today's topic, let's get in heavy. Let's go in. Let's go for this. I hope you felt some tuning in. Felt that prana being conducted throughout your whole body. As we're going to build up that capacity to tap into the source as we go. Because we're trying to make progress. Tap in and make this a common practice. Use this technology we got here to connect with each other on ways and build up their capacity to the point we don't need the technology anymore. That's the goal, that we don't need these screens. We ain't gonna need this. We can just go into that state of mindfulness, and we can connect there in the other world. You know what I mean? The more subtle side of reality. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the goal. That's what we're working one day at a time. So let's get into the comments. Let's get some feedback. If you want to participate, send me some notification, and I'll send you the link, and you can jump in and come right in the screen up here. And get this conversation going heavy. On that light, I'm gonna run some tune as we start to get into the conversation. I got this Prince Lincoln and the Royal Rosses. This track here is humanity. And what's going wrong with humanity? Why we're going astray? Right? Doing these suicidal things. Because murder is suicide, really, because your brother is yourself. Right? Just in another vehicle, but it's all one. So let's run this rhythm. Humanity. I had that playing in the background. That good sweet music playing in the background. Right, let's go to the comments. Yes, highly. Give thanks. Ari Hotep, when they changed the nature of games children played, okay, it was slow yet insidious and pervasive. Parents not seeing how much such things impacts the psyche. We now observing the harmlessness of such gunplay videos. So there's people that's going in on this idea of the type of games that we played. Some people say, way back in the day, you used to play cops and robbers. I'm gonna bring that comment down and put up the banner, put up the main theme. Right, yeah, the types of games we promote and we let our young people play. That definitely played some role. Was it a significant piece? That we pointing guns, didn't we used to take, pieces of fennel and, bend it the right way, or branches, and you make that, or slingshots. Remember slingshots? And you shoot slingshots at lizards and at each other when you felt dopey. So we had some degree of violence in our games. It just became more overt when the technology picked it up, and the games became this space you're actually living in. But we had a degree of violence, you know what I mean? We made little weapons, and we used to play, play little games of. There was some degree of it. How much a role that played, I'm not sure. If I definitely, parents and the time they spend with the children, the quality time with the children, building that relationship, that generational piece, Whereas the games became an activity you just let the kids do. You know what I mean? These computer games and things with all of that violence. Because people have talked about that computer game piece a lot as an issue. So I take you up on that highly. I think definitely the real parents played in it though, not being as active. Yes, Brother Richie, I already ran to that one. Give thanks. Says Brother Richie comes back. Jah love fills me. Jah love heals me. Jah light protects me. Simple prayer, declaration, and the mantra. Yes. I hope you took that into the mantra. Give thanks for that, Brother Richie. That love, because love's the answer. The answer's not hard. We just gotta learn to love each other, which is really loving oneself. That's really love for oneself. Because it's really self-hatred that leads you to murder somebody that might even look like you. Most likely is some sort of cousin or something in Bermuda. Some sort of family. It's pretty hard to not have some relationship with somebody on this rock. It's pretty difficult to not have some sort of family bond or tie. So that love is really about self-love and developing that self-love. The answer is really, really, really pretty simple. I'm gonna keep running that rhythm. That this Humanity by Prince Lincoln and the Royal Rastas. Got that running in the background. Right? So that Jah love. That love for that love that heals you is that self-love. And it manifests when you're able to cut off that emotion of anger and say, yeah, that's my brother from another mother. You know what I mean? How am I gonna take his life? You see what I'm saying? Give thanks for that, Brother Richie. Okay, I'm gonna send you the link right now. Yes, I'm gonna send you the link in Facebook. All right. So brother Richie's gonna join us in this conversation. Yes, one love, Dennis Joaquin. You've been here every day. Give thanks for the support, Brother Joaquin. We're gonna do this one soldier at a time. We pick up and get this force, this strengthen our force. This is just one platform. Hopefully we'll have, you know what I mean, Fresh TV and I got my branding slipped up on my branding. We have multiple sources like this, so your whole day is filled with positive programming. We gotta change this vibe up. Right now we're only coming to you 2 hours out of the day, and then some other programs we got Tuesday, the African Science class. We got Berger Jennings coming soon with sports and legends and music legends, sports and music legends. I'm sorry, Berger Jennings coming back at you, and then hopefully get that Q&E back running. We see what we got some technical difficulties and things to resolve there. But hopefully filling you with pure positivity and that one love. Dennis Joaquin, give thanks for participating and being here. So let me send this link off to Brother Rich. I'm gonna turn the tune up. I'm gonna bring the tune up from the top and play it a little loud as I send this out to Brother Richie. As I send as I send the link to Brother Richie and get him backstage or with us. Oh, yes. Time is getting harder and harder, more and more each day. Yeah. Still I am determined that I'm never gonna change my way. Thinking about love the way it should be. You gotta hope in your eyes and you will see about love the way it should be. You gotta make up your mind and you'll advance humanity. Humanity. Whoa. What happened to the love that they are all talking about? There's nothing but useless words coming from out of their mouths, talking about love the way it should be. We gotta hope in our eyes and we will see about love the way it should be. We gotta make up our minds and we'll advance humanity. Humanity. Whoa.
to the love that they are all talking about. There's nothing but useless words that are coming from out of their mouth, talking about love the way it should be. Open our eyes and we will see about love the way it should be. We gotta make up our minds and we'll advance humanity. Humanity.
Yeah, the love. Put that down. Advance humanity. Because I propose that humanity, we're going backwards. But we're regressing. We're not evolving, we're devolving. This capitalist society has a role to play in this self-hate. Put in material gain and, you know what I mean, comfort ahead of dealing with the major issues. What are we gonna do to put this to an end? Remember the end, because it's not gonna end by itself, this gun violence. And we're gonna continue to lose our promise, lose the potential of who knows what this young man, you know, could have done, or being there for his child would have did, you know what I mean? For our future. Promise lost. When will we get to the point? I'll probably keep that running. When will we get to the point that enough's enough? So, Brother Richie, I don't, if you see the link, I sent it to you in Messenger, Facebook Messenger. Just click on the link, and you can come in. Hopefully, Haile Mariam will join us too in the conversation. So, but talk to me in the comments also. Those that are tapped in the comment section, Facebook comments. You can also go on Vimeo. You can go to dCyfa.com, click and join the Vimeo link. Definitely want to promote that more and come out of Facebook in general. I'm already out of WhatsApp. Facebook's next. Facebook owns WhatsApp anyway. So get involved in the Telegram groups. Telegram and Vimeo is the path forward for the next few months. Until something better comes around, but let's pull out of Facebook as much as we can, and get these conversations going in a space where we can feel safe. At least those that are preoccupied about privacy and security on the devices. But back to the topic at hand, promise laws. How we're gonna secure this? How we're gonna make sure our young people can live to fulfill the promise? What can we do? Right? I put another question out there. Let me create a banner real quick on it. Right? Do we continue to blame the individual youth? Right? Or do we look at society? Is there something wrong with society that allow this to happen? Right? Do we continue to blame individuals, or is society broken? That's you know what I mean? It goes back to that type of concept, nature versus nurture. Are we producing broken people? Our youth is something psychologically, something wrong with the psyche that will allow them to think, yeah, it's cool, it's all right to pick up the gun as an option to resolve our conflict, whatever conflict you got with another human, with another fellow, not just fellow human, but your brothers. Yes, we can welcome Brother Richards here in the back stream. Give thanks for accepting this. Let's see if we get the order. Yes, give thanks, Brother Richie. Let's see. Yeah, man, wagwan. Let me see if we pull the music down so it don't drown out your audio. Yeah, let me pull the music down so I can turn the audio up. Yeah, man. This is a topic I know you deal with on a lot. You're an activist in this area. And you're out there on a daily. You made life for a long time about dealing with this cause, this type of cause, these issues. What this week and going back, what's hitting your heart, man? What you know what I mean? Talk to us. Share what you're feeling, man, and what you think we should be doing.
Telling the truth.
Okay.
Because truth hurts, and lies keep. And lies are killing more than COVID is. If the truth hurts, and lies keep, then what's really killing us?
That's heavy. Truth hurts. Are we prepared to accept the truth?
Can you handle the truth?
Can you handle the truth?
And most of us can't. So we'd rather be lied to and willfully accept lies because it's just easier to face the truth. Upset is easier to not face the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. It's easy. It's more comfortable. What used to be uncomfortable?
Right. Because truth, like it's scientifically proven that we have eternal capacity to not want to go through hurt or pain. And so we naturally either shut down or we go towards it that's more comfortable. And so we just accept life. And then we live in a system among various other systems that's based on lies. So we're educated or miseducated in these areas. You know what I mean? So okay. If y'all been drinking Kool-Aid from birth and you're told it's milk, when somebody offers you milk, you're like that's not milk. That's not milk. I'm drinking milk. But all the milk that you're drinking is rotting your teeth. You got diabetes. And whoever gave you the milk, quote unquote, was a liable source. You just accept it. This is milk. And then y'all got this individual and they're saying, listen, that substance that you're consuming is detrimental to your well-being. You know what I'm saying? But you don't care. You're like, no. Listen, I've been on this stuff from birth. So I understand that white stuff, or whatever. I'm just saying as an example. But that stuff you're saying, full of vitamin D and calcium rich, whatever. But look. I'm gonna get this this sugary stuff right here. It's been sustaining me all this time. And this other stuff you're offering me right now, it looks funny, it tastes funny, no. So this is where we're at, like, you know what I mean? If you look at, every system, man, religious, financial, medical, in both health and mental health, it's all systems, like, you know what I mean? And they've been designed with a end in mean. End in mind, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so the system needs to perpetuate the lie to continue to keep it strong. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because a system is only as strong as the individuals you have sustaining it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that's heavy.
So you gotta stack the deck, like, so that the people that's in it, like, it's like, that's why the Willie Lynch syndrome, like, can do what it does after the people that wrote it are fucking about dead and gone. You know what I'm saying? Because the system set in place, and then you after you institute it for a while, it just automatically just kicks in. You know what I mean? And so then we become our own worst enemy. So the enemy may start from without, but after a while, the enemy is within. Like, we are our own worst enemy.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I see a T-shirt. Yeah, what is love? You know what I mean? I see you got there. Yeah. Because you love is action. You live it. You're branded. You're ready for the conversation. This because love is the answer, and it's that self-hatred that's bred in us that we're allowing to manifest and remanifest and remanifest. Let's go to the comments real quick. We got Dennis, Joaquin, and I don't know if you can see your comments. And can you turn? Let me see if you turn your camera to the side. I mean your phone to the side.
You mean like
Really good.
this?
Yeah, really good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes the picture a little. That
Okay.
makes the picture a little better for the wide
Yeah.
screen view. So let's go to the comment real quick. Dennis Joaquin says, I think we have finally come out of the dark ages. And your program is evidence of how knowledge is now spread freely. But this knowledge challenges our belief system, in which was created for us. Right? This belief system that was created for us. That you spoke of the Willie Lynch syndrome, right? But you can't force a horse to drink. You could take him to the water, right? I like a mule in that situation. You could take the mule because mules are so stubborn, you know what I mean? But you can't force them to drink. So what do we do? What changes can we make so that we can, get at the core problems? What are the core problems? When did this rot and self-hatred really set in? Because I think there was over the generations, right? I put out there that somewhere in the span of time between our teenage years, right? Why is that not running? Our teenage years, and what these youth right now are facing, guns came into the equation. When did that happen? And is there some remedy that pulls it out? Okay, yeah, jump in.
I said this before. Okay, I've got 500 megabytes left on my data. But anyway, look, you can't blame the youth, right? You can't look. Who has the power? The youth don't have. Who holds the keys? What I'm saying is the youth don't have no keys. You know, the youth, right?
Yeah, man.
The youth don't bring in the guns, you know, boys.
Man.
The youth don't bring in the guns, right?
Yes, exactly.
The youth ain't got that type of power. How can you blame a young generation, right?
Yeah, man.
For implementing structures and constructs or whatever that's detrimental to our society? The youths are a byproduct of the
Yeah, of the same environment, of the environment, the product of the environment.
Hey, listen, it's very simple, you know. We basically the youth are walking in the path that was laid out for them, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know, don't blame the youth for us dropping the ball and failing to connect them to the roots, you know.
This is a big one.
I was saying, like, why you mad at the youth, like, for picking up a gun that somebody gave to them?
Exactly.
And don't blame the youth, for occupying the space or the mind or the time where we have failed to Virgin in the last few years or decade or so. What taking more away from them? So it makes me righteously indignant because you're lashing the youths, but yet, like, I'm listening to the House of Assembly on a Friday, and what it sounds like up in there. And y'all gonna be mad at the youth for talking disrespectful? Virgin, if the youths took the time out to listen to these guys up on the hill, how they talk and deal with each other? Hey, bro, people get slapped in the mouth for less, you know.
Yes.
But these guys up there, like you know what I'm saying, using, hey, listen, I'm got a GC in English language, I understand words, bro. And the words that gets slurring across the floor, if that's supposed to be the example to the youth of how we're supposed to carry on in society towards each other, you're setting a bad example.
Just
a bad example. And then you're gonna have the nerve to get on the news and get in the newspaper and lash my youths, because they're following the examples of you guys up on the hill carrying on like real fools. Brethren, the foolishness that the youths are doing is a reflection of the foolishness that we adults are doing behind closed doors, and these youths are just manifesting it. What doing behind closed doors, man?
Shaman.
What's being done behind closed doors is allowing these youths to walk in a path of darkness, that were operating behind closed doors. So these youths are just an agent of the foolishness that the adults are releasing on this earth, bro.
Hey, this is
How you gonna? Hey, look, man. How you gonna lash the youths for popping wheelers in the street when you talk about every single sort of recreational outlet from the youths, man? I could go and pop wheelers and jump ramps right around Frog Lane when I wanted
mm-hmm.
to, right?
Yeah, man.
I could go and link up with my brethren without a beeper or page or any sort of social media technology, and I could meet up with 10 of my brethren on my BMX and go scrambling somewhere, So like don't be mad at the youths and you're telling them don't do this here, don't do that. But the stuff that we can do or could be doing, you take the opportunity and the resources away from us, son.
You're taking them away from them. Look, let's go to the comments real quick. Let's see if we can engage them. I know you only got a few minutes in there, and I know you're passionate about it. I know this is pretty cool, and we're gonna have to come back. Definitely got a fool. Let's just go to the comments real quick. Keep the people engaged. Deirdre Shakur says, when they decided education was not important enough, right? Self-worth and confidence to compete in our community was destroyed. So it was a systematic piece. This is back again to the system being the issue. They came the bosses of the street, right? They became the bosses of the street. We took them, we took education off the table, didn't make it as important to them, and we see the decadence in society, right? She says, yeah, facts on what you were saying. You know what I mean? Speaking about the realities of blaming our youth. That's facts. Michael Bragman says anyone can have a gun, but the choice is to shoot is both they think they can get away with it and they have nothing to lose. What do you think about that point there? What go up on that?
Hey, the youths will watch guys walk away with almost $1 million from this island, and get away with it, bro. These youths ain't stupid, they read the paper and they watch burn news and all that there. And they're watching how the government is flopping our money, brethren.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
So like, brethren, of course they think they could get away with it, when they see politicians, skanking to fucking well, I want to smoke, drink, and make love to some reggae, bro. And you're telling the youths they can't socialize and have a good time. But the people that's getting online and telling us to fucking well quarantine and stay at home, they're out there kicking up their heels, brethren, like ain't no tomorrow. And then you're gonna tell me behave myself. You guys can't even behave yourself, and you're making the rules. You're breaking your own rules, and then you want us to respect the rules you're putting on us. Hey, these youths have watched poor examples of bad stewardship, and a lack of integrity in places of power for too long.
Yes. Look, we got another brother in the room. Brother Frankie Bay, the Moorish disciple, Moorish student. So he can jump in the conversation. I don't know if you know Brother Frankie, Dingo's brother, Mystic's brother, Brother Frankie. I don't know.
This Bermuda, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
But look, so yeah, look, I know your passion. I know your heart is this runs deep and deep and deep. And this is just an impromptu thing. You jumped on the screen. Lost him. Goodness. Lost him. They're probably his data. So you know what I mean? We're definitely gotta bring Brother Richie back into the space, invite him in when he's got an opportunity and delve into this topic. You're hearing the echo too? Let me see. I turned off the echo. Let me see what else I could do. So you're not hearing the echo. Can you go into your settings, Brother Frankie? I'm gonna have to call you. I'm gonna start calling you. I'm gonna have to call you Brother Frankie. I'm saying Brother Richie. It's just gonna be natural. But yes, this comment that Michael Bragman's put out here. Yeah, see, it went away when you turn off your. Let's see if we figure out your song. Maybe if you got headphones, if you got headphones nearby, try that out maybe. See how we can figure that. Or go into your audio settings and see if you can hit echo cancellation in your audio sets. But yes, this topic this comment by Brother Michael. Anyone can have a gun, but the choice to shoot is both that they think they can get away with it, and they have nothing to lose. So let's deal with they have nothing to lose point. So the sense of worth is low. Life worth, like who cares, is more important. Some street credibility. And yeah. So I see that your echo cancellation is off, and I'm muted. Yeah, see what, if you're still hearing me by echo now, tell me if it's still coming through echo to you. So you know what I mean? And they have nothing to lose. So why do they feel they have nothing to lose? Where is that? What that's the title of the overall show is potential loss. Why are they not? I mean, promised loss. Why are they not being a feeling like the promise? Okay, that goes since, and then now it's going away. I don't know. Hopefully we get Brother Richie back if he can get to some Wi-Fi. Definitely need to because he's committed to this. He's an activist in this space and has been working in this space for a long time. So to hear from him will definitely be relevant to the conversation. But what is causing our young people to feel that they have nothing to lose, and how can we change that? Where did, just as we were speaking earlier, they kind of, all the comments are kind of tying in together, that we changed the type of games they play, right? When we went to this more technology-based type games and stuff. But there was some remnants of violence in our games back in the day. You know what I mean? We used to do kung fu fighting. A new Bruce Lee movie came out or whatever. Everybody was Bruce Lee, kicking and boxing, and you know what I mean? So when did it come to the point that, you know what I mean, I'm going to take his life and to end this conflict, I'm just going to take him off the face of the earth? Which is a reflection of themselves, right? Because your brother, that's it says, okay, so he goes on, I can't, if they can get a job, right? I think that's, if they can get a job, already hustling and operating outside the law, right? From early out, they are excluded from being eligible for decent paying jobs from the beginning, because of so the education system's faulting them, right? Education system, poor people can't get education, so structurally Bermuda is broken. And I think you can speak of, Bermuda has a pretty strong education system relatively. So some regions, you know what I mean, particularly the U.S., the overall experience in the urban environment, you know what I mean, in our urban spaces, wherever you find people living that urban life, education tends to be, less of an option to succeed. They're already out there hustling to get by, right? They don't see the stretch out that you have to, the vision. Let me get Brother Frankie and hopefully. Are you hearing? If you unmute your mic, let's see if you still got an echo going on.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. I hear you
well.
I
can hear you clearly as well.
Okay, so no echo went. So more than one guest, maybe we have to see what we got to do. Yes, give thanks, Brother Frankie. Can you see the comment there?
I do. I see it. I see it clearly.
So structurally, talk to me about what your impression of the structure of this society, because I know that's a heavy piece. Nationality is a heavy piece on that you feel we need to resolve first. Do you see that playing a role in this and education?
Right. Well, yes, absolutely. Peace and love to everybody listening as well. Honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and all else who came before us, who was bringing us the information we needed so much, and that's the knowledge of ourselves, right? So structurally, if we're speaking on foundations, nationality is the foundation, and that is our nature, who we are, knowledge of ourselves. If we don't have that, we have a foundation of sand, nothing solid. We're standing on sand, basically, or water, worse. And trying to build on sand or on water, nothing solid, is ultimately going to fail. So we have to solve our major riddle first, is who we are. Right now, we've been trying to work with something that was set up from a foreign. It's a foreign occupation, and we've been running on a foreign system for you can say over 400 years or so. So, and that is colonialism. We have to be real about this. We are working a colony. Now, this colony was set up for business and not for the profit, or or the business wasn't set up to profit the island itself or the land that it was set up on, but it was set up to profit a foreign nation, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what you do in the machine that was created to benefit a foreign nation, you're gonna benefit that foreign nation.
Mm-hmm. So
right?
what structures can be what structures can be implemented, right? And once we identify, so we got our identity oriented, right? We got that oriented. Let's say that per se, but we'll just say that is resolved, and we're all aligned on what our identity is. How does that now transition and translate into the educational component being given more significance, them getting a role in society, these young people, these youth, now that they know who they are? Talk to us. Yeah, how does that translate?
So that will resolve itself naturally. We have talented people in all areas of life, but the issue is, who are they serving? Are they serving themselves, or are they serving others?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a matter of having to change this, that, or the other. What we're gonna change, all that's gonna resolve itself naturally. Once people know who they serve, then I can't tell a plumber how to change his plumbing based on colonialism. I can't tell a teacher how to change his curriculum based on colonialism. Actually, I can, but I won't. It's really not about one person telling everybody else what to do. It's about everybody changing the mindset, themselves, and then just being themselves. Because we got talented people everywhere doing all sorts of stuff, but who are they working for?
That's serious. Let's go to the comments real quick. Dennis Joaquin says, I think you can see this, right, Frankie?
I can see it.
Okay. Until we truly examine the pond in which we live, namely corporate Bermuda, right? The corporation. Bermuda was set up as a corporation from the beginning, the colonial existence, and it hasn't changed. And how through birth certification and registration we relinquish ownership of our children to government, right? The welfare state. Maritime law, right, states that every person is a corporation, and corporations are recognized as person. So again, speaking to the context of knowing who we are, and then what jurisdiction, these jurisdictional issues of allowing this maritime law to cause us, right? The default status is to give our children's nationhood away, give our children's ownership away to the state. How do we change that? What does making that shift in nationality, right? Is it independence? How does that translate to these young people feeling more like their future, the promise, is worthy of staying around, sticking around for, and not giving it up, as was in the other comment we had with Michael Brangman? How do we tie these together, right, and create solutions? How does this nationality issue translate into, now they know who they are? How do they now feel more part of a balanced society? How do we get that to operate?
Yeah, there's no other human activity more important than trade, and that is goods and services. Once a group, they can be a nation, Ultimately, that's what we need to focus on is nationality. That's what we've been missing since we forgot our Moorish heritage and or hadn't been exposed to our Moorish heritage. But outside of that, trade is what dominates humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maritime law is what dealing with the law of commerce,
Yes.
trade, right? Where do we spend our money? Now, when I'm saying money, ultimately I'm saying attention, because really attention is money. What we give our energy to, we create value, right? So we could directly give our energy to others through our goods and services. So money is just an encapsulation of our time and our value created. So where do we give our time and our value created? Do we give our attention to our youth? Or do we give our attention to glitter and other distractions and attractions and goods and services coming from outside our own? Where is our attention given? Now we got this maritime law, we got all this type of stuff set up. Now everything the brother said is true right there. We gotta, once we know this, then we can use this. Can you imagine you don't know what a drill is, but you can just pick it up and use it? You don't know what a hammer is and how to use it, how it works and the benefits you can get from using a hammer, but we're gonna just pick it up and use it. This is what we're doing with citizenship and membership in this business, this corporation called Bermuda. We're just picking it up and using it, but we don't even know what it is. We're mistaking citizenship and membership in a corporation for nationality. Well, one is greater than the other. One is rooted in nature and inheritance and blood and reality, and one is rooted in trade and legal fictions and man's law, not the land's law. The law of the land is not the law of man.
Okay.
The law of the land is the law of the land. We're talking natural law, right? So once we realize this, then we can use it properly for our own benefit. But if we're just using a tool and we don't know what it is and how it's properly used, then we're going to benefit somebody else ultimately.
Well, you're hitting some heavy pieces. That issue of man's law versus natural law. Natural law being the law of the land, being what's the common law, what over time adapted in certain areas, but that natural law being the foundation of it. These principles that all humanity should understand in general before they operate, right? No matter what flag you bear, that natural law, that human law, should underride that. These are accepted. It's within humanity. I put forward that we're escaped from because we accept and we just sit in this position of accepting man's law, right? He's implemented his corporate society on us.
Now our people only know that. That's the issue right there. We don't know nationality, so we can't put nationality first and use citizenship to our nation's benefit. So the issue is we only know the story told about us, right? And that actually puts us in a victim mentality. Without us knowing it, we've been we put ourselves, in a sense, in a victim mentality, a victim state of mind. And that's a passive state of mind. That's I'm gonna sit back and complain and somebody's gonna save me. That's victim mentality right there. The only history our people can claim and to know about ourselves is the mid-Atlantic slave trade. That it. And that's celebrated for a month every year, and trained for a month every year, to the point where youths have no want to know more about themselves. As far as they're concerned, all they know is that they were captured out of some jungle somewhere and beat until they changed their name. Right?
That's promoted in this education system. Real quick, let me go to the comments again. Not to interrupt your flow, but let's keep the viewers engaged also. So Deidre Shakur coming again. She's been from the beginning of the show. Our education system took 10 steps backwards, right? When we also decided that technical trade education was not as important as academic education, right? We left generations of young men feeling less than, not sure of their skills and gifts, asking themselves, what do they offer to society? Opportunities became less available and we gave birth to broken members of our society. Strong words. Everyone has to be a part of this change. Opportunities must be made available. The community on the whole have to want to fight for. And I see your comment got cut off there. Let's see if you can, Deidre, if you can repost the where you were going with that. Dennis continues on. He says, "Here is a question: can the past create a future? No. The past can only utilize experiences of the past. We must listen more to our youth as they point out things of the past that don't work in their future, right? But we as adults have the struggle to change. We have to, I think, we are having the struggle to change because we're caught up in our ways. What our habits have become, right? Our actions have become habits, and our habits are based in a framework that was set up to exploit us. And we're just manifesting that. And Marita Curtis comes in and says, greetings all. I agree 100% with Deidre, right? Talking about the education and how, let's go back to Deidre's comments again, our education system took 10 steps backwards when we also decided that, right? So that rule of trade education, you're involved in that yourself, right? You take on young people and train them and your particular career. Talk a bit about your space and working with youth.
You're
Brother
talking about me. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about the comment.
Yes, the comment about technical trade education. It's real a technical trade education and what role that could play in empowering our young people, and what you've done and what role you see that playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Any chance I get, I try to be part of a positive education for youth. Education. I'll leave a comment to education.
Because, and I'm directly involved in that space myself.
Yeah, sorry. Education means to draw out or to lead out, draw out in its original sense, versus teaching, which is just training or making type. So yeah, I would say, man, I did a lot of work at the community center for many years, starting with summer camp. And then from there, it went on to tutoring. We did some gardening classes at one point. I deal with engineering, so I tutor mathematics and science mostly. I taught English in Barcelona for a year as a second language, and teaching English helped me to learn English better. Because you'll know this as an educator yourself, right?
Yes.
That when you have to teach something or train someone in something, you got to learn it better yourself first. Like, not every good football player is going to be a good football coach. Right? You got to learn it deeper. And so I really got into words and and studying words and all that, and that helped a lot within the education of youths and others. I didn't only educate with youths, also adults and elders. So yeah, I deal with the youths a lot. I think I know that that's the key. Just like you said, grown trees don't bend, or they don't bend easily. And if they bend, it ain't long before they break. But young trees, you can bend and shape in the beneficial or detrimental ways. But they bend and shape more easily, and then they accept that shape you give them and go through life in that bias. So it's important to get the youths educated beneficially, and more so than even dealing with trying to lead horses or mules to water. And particularly with their self-confidence, because self-knowledge and self-esteem and self-education is what you need. Otherwise, you're just giving people fish, and they're not fishing themselves, right? No one person can keep feeding everybody else. People got to be able to feed themselves, and that actually starts with self-love, right? Self-respect. I wouldn't even say self-love. You just give it one starting point. Self-love. So if we teach these youth self-love, everything else will fall in place.
Self-love. That's and integrated into the learning, right? I think that's what this statement you're alluding to and getting towards, the etymology of education, educare, right?
Correct.
Speak on the relationship with etymology and how you can make that love connection using words.
Right. Well, so I look at love and hate as two sides of the same coin. Love being, well, both of them requiring attention. So the coin or the money is attention, right? However, one side is accepting and the other side is rejecting. So in order to hate something, you got to be giving it attention in order to hate it, right? You got to be looking at it, giving it your energy and your time, but at the same time you're rejecting it, you're pushing it away. So it's a conflicting situation. Actually, it starts the conflict is within yourself when you're hating on something else, right? That nothing else feels it stronger than yourself. So that conflict in energy. But to love is to embrace it and to accept. You're giving it attention and accepting. Right? Now, attention is all we have. Time is all we got. So attention is really the energy that we have. What we get, where attention goes, energy flows. Now, if we're not loving, we're hating. So if you don't love what you're doing, you hate what you're doing.
Yes. I'm gonna push that.
Now, if we see us, we cannot live apart from ourselves. Now, you could distance yourself from anybody else. You can block anybody else out, but yourself. That's it. You have to live with yourself. Yeah. You have to hear your own thoughts. Now, if all we're being taught about ourselves is a horrid, tribulations, and oh man, we had such a bad history. It was bad, man. It was so bad. Scars on the back, drowning in the Atlantic Ocean. Bad history. Oh man, it was horrid. Without also showing the glorious history and, building civilizations all around the world type of stuff. And, all we're given is, bad whips and chains and, dying, rape, and all this type of crazy. You can't, it's hard to keep looking at that.
Yes, that I think that taps in right what you're saying, bro. And where attention goes, energy flows. This idea that we focus on the negative parts of that may or may not have existed to that extent. That exist. That role that the mid-Atlantic slave trade, or the transatlantic slave trade played in our history is just a fraction, regardless. Even the over amplified, millions and millions of us being taken out of Africa. That was just a fraction of our history, a fraction of our glorious past, right? Just a glimpse on the scale. Let's go to the comments again. We've got Fakirte. Give thanks for Fakirte for always being tuned in. The demise of our education system was not done by accident. There was real intent. Yeah, and Fakirte is directly involved. She's an educator, been in the system. However, we see Ministry of Education is trying to include the public in their education redesign. Hopefully, we will see, we will give our suggestions as to the positive changes we want to see included. Okay, yes. There was direct intention she's speaking of. Is that a result of the colonial mindset never being dismantled? Right? Is the system itself is broken? That's I put that out there. I had it in a comment from the beginning. Do we continue to blame individuals, or is society broken? This society, which is based on a capitalist, exploitative framework, the social construct is built in that way to take advantage of others, to get yourself forward, to succeed in this society. You can't have to step on somebody else. It's very rare that you can progress and bring others with you, right? To make improvements around you. You gotta seek your individual, you know what I mean? It's about getting your bank account right. You know what I mean? Now, some would say you can't help others until you help yourself, right? Put your own mask on first, and the plane's going down. Then you put on your child's mask. You know what I mean? Save yourself so that you can help others. Now, there's definitely a lot of premise to that. But as long as we stay in that self mindset and don't realize the connection to the us, to the we part of the equation, because it's not emphasized in this society, it's not, it's actually works against it. That the comment you had there of right, love and hate, or love and fear. I would say the more primal is love and fear. Is the two emotional states that sometimes we can contrast, because hate comes out of the fear, that fear space that something's gonna do you harm some way.
Well, yes, exactly. Fear, but fear is coming out of the lack of knowledge. Right. So right now, are you afraid? Are you fearing a shark right now?
No.
Right. Well, because the sharks over there in the ocean, and you're not.
Right.
Right. So fear, and being in a constant state of fear now means that you got to know or not know something, and that's a danger with because fear just creates a fight or flight response. You're either gonna fight it,
right,
or you're gonna run away from it.
Yes, fight versus flight, sympathetic versus parasympathetic. Yes.
Right. So, and fighting it we're talking physical and mental. So fighting it is, you gotta be there, accepting it, right? And then you end up knowing it because you're accepting it. You're checking it out. You're not, everybody fears getting hurt, of course, but once you ever been afraid of dogs and they're not afraid of dogs? Because you looked at dogs long enough to figure out how to not be afraid of them, and they're not gonna hurt you so long as this, that, and the other. But you had to fight that urge of running away from dogs. first.
Mm-hmm.
So mentally, we got to fight the urge of running away from things we don't know or understand. Like doctors have to run away from just knowing pharmaceutical treatments, and Rastas have to run away from just learning about the emperor. You got to learn about this, that, and the other too.
Yes.
Plumbers have to run away from just learning about, you see where I'm going there.
Yes. That the
People
system
are actually fearful of stuff that they don't already know. So if you only heard this one story in the paper, you're going to be fearful of anything else that contradicts that one story. So when will it end? It will end when we know ourselves. Right now, we're running away from other knowledge of ourselves. We're only, because of what we know about ourselves so far, with that fearful, horrid history, we're running away from. Anything else to do with ourselves, we're running away from.
Mm-hmm.
Once
Knowledge
we know
of
ourselves, we start to love ourselves and not hate ourselves and fear ourselves.
Yes, significant. Okay.
And then we can champion this system, which is a business. It's a business. We're running our life, our natural life, as a business. That's the problem. We're supposed to run our business as a business. A business is supposed to think competition, but not our nature as humanity. Our nature as humanity is a social nature. What we are, the worst thing we could do is shun somebody. Shunning somebody is the strongest weapon we have.
Ignore them, you mean, or
ignoring someone, exactly. Ignoring someone. And when you shun somebody, you got them completely out of your mind. And you'll be surprised at how powerful that is on somebody else without having to lift a finger. Now, as a nation, you can shun another nation. That creates wars, That's the premise of war, is when a nation shuns another nation because they're not trading with them anymore. They don't even exist. So right now we're shunning our own nation because we claim to be something that we're not.
Okay. So this knowledge of self will reorient us and give us the opportunity to, once we put it in context, right? Then fear won't be our default stance anymore, because that pride, that knowledge of self, that love of self will be our default nature. Be a default to that, and it will become our habit, and it will become our, we return to that natural state.
Right, exactly. We have warriors amongst us. We have scholars amongst us. We have warriors. That's who's being born now. Is warriors. These youths are ready for change.
We return to that natural state.
But that energy is misdirected. You see, anger is an energy, right? However, it has to be channeled properly. So we got different war games. We don't even know football's a war game, basketball's a war game. Chess is a war game. All these games are war games. And when our warriors are occupied and are burning that energy out, that energy don't get turned into hate. That energy turns into love. Once they burn that energy out, they actually love the other team that they look at the players on a football field after the game. That's a war game, They're hating each other during, they're fighting against each other during the game, but once the game's over. So when you got youths from one side of the nation playing youth from another side of the nation, they're hating each other on the field, but they're loving each other in the club afterwards. Got the drinks and everybody's partying and all that type of stuff. But when you remove that channel of energy now, where is that energy don't just cease to exist anymore. That stuff gets pent up, and all they need now is some avenue to use it, and it's gonna get used naturally.
Okay. So we got our brother Richie back in the room, back in his space. Brother Richie continuing the conversation with us. But we're talking about the real identity plays, right? And this nationhood, understand our nationhood, how that will redirect us. But let me go to some comments real quick. But God, Highly Miriam comes back and says, let me see how I could show that. But anyway, it's blocking your face there. But I think you can see the comment, you guys. Why is this even a question? He's saying the question we put up is the system broken, right? What educational system? How can it be thought to be broken? It serves the purpose it's designed for. Ah, that's a very interesting perspective. This discussion proves its worth. Listening to this, little I've heard, I've no doubt. I have no doubt, right? We've not said anything I consider positive deconstruction of this system. All I've heard is how to survive in this world created by those who destroyed the one we created. Highly, if you could come in and clarify that, that's definitely you're making some definitely powerful statements. Should we be considering that this system is broken when it's serving its purpose? Have we done enough to dismantle it, to deconstruct it, and remove it as an option? Right? I feel that was definitely a solid comment. I see a comment here from Brother Elmore, but that was directly to Dennis Joaquin. Hopefully, those two can let's see where that comment goes. And then Brother Mark Anthony Vieira said it's not education, it's indoctrination, right? Because education is to take us, right? Okay, yes, exactly. It's education. Education is supposed to bring us that and not consider us to be like these empty vessels to be filled up with whatever they want us to touch. Yes, educare is to draw out, to bring the best out of us. Right? Educare, bring the best out. Right? Early knowledge of oneself is educare. Exactly. Just filling in the comments. That brother Frankie L Bay is sending her in the private link. I'm just reading this out to you guys. Instead of creating a banner for each one, right? Early knowledge of self is educare, bringing the self out, bringing out the potential, one's potential out, right? That's why we framed it, promised laws. So, and then if we go to this, along the lines of Mark saying right here, and add that to what Elder Hiley was saying, right? The Griot is saying, the education system doing what it was supposed to do, what it's supposed to do. It's serving its purpose, right? Give thanks, cousin Cindy. Give thanks for tuning in. Yes, good. Yes, the meditation is the key piece. That's what we promote overall. Is that deep breathing and meditation is going to tap us into the source, and there the right orientation that we need in each moment is going to come, because it's going to change at times. Sometimes you need to pick up a weapon. When is the right course to pick up a weapon or a gun? Let's shift to that. When is it right to use a gun? Because let's say, I know education is a big piece, and that our young people are not trained and they don't see the options. But when is it right to pick up a gun and fight for a cause? Do they not have a cause? Are they demonstrating that they're soldiers and they're ready to fight a battle, but we haven't given them that orientation to say, look, this is your allies and those are your foes. Who should you be pointing a gun at? Does violence resolve any of our problems? War, you know what I mean? And having let's say we trained our regiment to be able to conduct, you know what I mean, a physical resistance, because they're not really trained to really operate as you know, as an armed force. But what if our young people are begging for that because they feel, you know what I mean, they don't participate in society and they don't know who their enemies are. They don't know who to point these guns at. And should guns be in the equation at all? I'm gonna bring Brother Richie back into the conversation. Okay, I see, and I got real quick some comments. Yeah, leave it behind. I think that's Brother Almo was saying that education system needs to just be left behind. Stop trying to fit it into our equation. Looks like Brother Richard's connection still not stable. We're gonna have to get him connected in securely and definitely continue because there's an activist in this space. And then so Brother Almore goes on, get rid of every ounce of European neo-colonial info and its teachings. Yeah. Every single, I would go further than the ounce. Every remnant, wash it all away and start from scratch. Dismantle the whole thing. Dismantle the whole operation from let's see from the ground up. Dismantle their connection. Yes, John know all things. Yes. So Brother Rich is still trying to connect, see if we can get him back into the space. We only got about half an hour left. I'm going to take it to 11 today. We're just introducing this concept, but we want to definitely deal with solutions. Trying to get in, but keeps buffering. Yes. Yeah, we see if we can get you in, but we'll come back to this conversation when we got an opportunity to put some time in and dig into it. Only can go to 11 this morning, right? Yes, Furkerte, you agree, right? We need to dismantle the whole thing, dismantle it. Stop trying to fit it, this square into a circle. And I say that with all levels of that allegory, that image. Stop trying to fit a square. This four-sided figure, these walls, thinking that it has to happen in a classroom, that learning has to take place in a classroom. Stop trying to fit it in there. Stop trying, because our children are smooth, they're round, they grow, they develop. Right? Yes. Culture is education. Let me switch that up and go to this view. Culture is education. I was thinking of that because this ties into our other part of the conversation. This was actually the theme I had last night. Woke up and the meditation changed. Yes, culture is education. What is the environment we're surrounding our people, our young people in? We need to bring them out of the classroom, out of that classroom space as much, thinking that's the only place that learning can take place, right? In these four walls, with one teacher at the front trying to identify the talents and skills of 20 plus other kids, right? That framework of limited resources, because it was set up because we had limited textbooks, we had limited sources of information. That's why you had everybody around in a classroom and lined up to get you ready to work in a factory. All of that is not compatible with the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Face.
The youths are just trained to sit down and shut up.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real training that goes on for 18 plus years. Sit down, be quiet, listen, and repeat what I tell you.
Mm-hmm.
If you take away all the actual curriculum, the substance of what's in the textbooks and what's being said, and just look at the reality of what each and every person is getting who participate in the school systems in the West generally, that's what's being trained. You learn from day one to get in line, sit down, be quiet, and repeat what I say. All the way up to doctorate. It's sit down and write what everybody else has already said. Nothing nothing about that is education.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely nothing. The youths who sit down from 4 years old now, 4 years old, when they're supposed to be burning off all that, yet they'll send them home to you full of energy. Right?
Mm-hmm.
After the deal is, you all are the ones who know what is best for the future. So I'm entrusting my life to you for the greater part of the waking hours in the day. right? Yet they get taught to sit down, eat, sit down, eat, sit down, and then you can run around after you leave here. So that's what we do. We eat, sit down. I'm talking about up to most working adults now. Eat, sit down, and party on Friday. That's when you have time to actually burn some energy, or pay some gym membership, and you could burn your energy over there. So most of our people know this. That's what's taught. That's what is tight, right? That's not education. Education is drawing out what's it within. Teaching is making tight. Manners are taught. In the military, they teach you how to march. They teach how to do this, that, and the other. The past tense of to teach is taught. Taught is what you do when you pull a rope real tight, it can't move in any other direction but the way you pulled it. So when taught people are just that, the tight in the teachings. And they don't move in any other direction. They can't move in any other direction. Yet education now, if we're original people, that means we have everything in us. So we can move in any direction. If it's starting from the central point, which is yourself. Starting from your own central point, you can move in any direction as an original person, as any person. I don't want to split up humanity like that, because really it's just one human race. It's one humanity. So as a human being, you're from the source, and you can move in any direction. And an educator's job, an educator's real job, true job, is to draw out the potential that exists within that young human being and old human being. Any educator, draw out the potential of those youths. This is why small class sizes worked better. Because the educator was able to pull in 5-6 directions. But an educator can't pull in 20 different directions. He's going to fall back on, okay, well, all of you need to know this. And all of you need to know that.
Yes.
But however, true education is culture. If you go build a kite, for example, now we can get into the so-called paganism and all that there. However, you got geometry going on there. You can take the wood and go all the way back to trees and all that type of stuff. Do you know what I mean? You can teach 5 different youths, 5 different subjects from building a kite.
Yeah, man. The skill sets this is the premise. Still on this concept. Culture is education. The fuller, rich learning experiences, right, are ahead when you immerse them in that environment, put them in the space to have these challenges and to use where is that coming in from? Excuse the ringing. Can't yes, I'm not sure if you was trying to come in, Brother Dudley. We're live. I know if you're trying to come in, I could try to patch you in. Let's see how we can work it in. I can send you the link if you was trying to come in the conversation. Let me see if it's trying to come in. But the issue. Okay, let's get to some comments real quick. Let's post some comments up because we're just to keep engaging the everyone that's on board with us. Oh, brother Frankie Albay dropped off. Let me bring my camera back in. Right, so going on, continue with Brother Elmore's comments. Reattach ourselves to ourselves. We need to come out of that system and reattach to build our system up so we can reattach to ourselves and put the emphasis on what we need to put the emphasis on. Right? Stop looking at their TV, movies, documentaries. Yes. Right? We need our sources of media that reflect ourselves. This is how they get through. This is how they get you through their culture, right? Yes, because they dominate and use the sources of media to influence us, and have been doing that well for a long time. Let's go to Brother Hiley is got a big comment. Let me turn my to give a little slightly better look there. Brother Hiley says, or Elder Hiley, the griot, the seed planter. Sorry, I've just got this job today, so he can't come in like he would want to, but he hears a lot of words from the people which he can't make a lot of sense of. He heard someone say about the law of the land. We call this ma'at in ancient Kemetic science, right? But not like what he was hearing from that way. Learn and live this fundamental concept of ancient African science, right? Ma'at, balance, the scales, original idea of natural law from Ma'at and the principles of Ma'at, right? This is our first step we've not as yet taken. So we need to incorporate those principles of Ma'at into our liberty and train our young people, add it to the culture so the young people come up in that space, right? Let me see. Okay. Let me see. I'll turn that. I'm not sure if you're responding back to that, but we'll give you up to. Let me just go through the rest of the comments. There's quite a few here building up. Yes, I definitely see that the role that African science needs to play, and the role that Ma'at needs to play in our education system, it needs to be built around that. Yes. I could bring my camera back on. I shouldn't cut me all the way off. I suggest anyone who want to learn how to get rid of slave mentality, you go to Fresh TV Bermuda Vimeo page and watch every program from the start. Yes, give thanks. This is a tremendous resource that Brother Elmo has put together. This platform, this Fresh TV knowledge base. So it's a source of information. You can get your tune in to you can click on the Vimeo and watch past editions of shows all the way back. Right? Give thanks, Elder Griot. Fakirte says, okay, after all of this is said and done, and I've heard these valid complaints for years. Yes, you have. Where and what are the solutions, right? It's time to open our own schools then. Yes, let's go forward with that. Solution based. Yes, Fakirte. We're definitely not trying to point on those that are keeping it afloat, what education we do have, keeping it afloat. And we definitely don't want to come in a space and just complain and be, talking about the doom and gloom of this system. Let me get Brother Obey back in the conversation. The doom and gloom view that everything's bad about this system and we got to change, but we ain't did it yet. Well, we're going to be offering solutions here at Fresh TV. So we got solutions here. You can re-educate yourself with all of the resources that are available. Go to the Vimeo, the Fresh TV Vimeo, and you can watch past lectures, interviews, shows. Fill yourself up with knowledge that's provided in that platform, Fresh TV, the best TV. I've got I've got a brand issue. Let me get that, correct that real quick. So education, culture and education, the relationship between the two and the role that culture should play in education. Education bringing the talents out of the young people. Culture, the environment that we're immersing them in so that they can have these enriching, engaging experiences where the knowledge is tying into the liberty. They see it as equipping themselves with skills and a place to use those skills, to put those skills in action, and to get feedback from the community that they have a role to play in the society so they don't feel hopeless. As we go back to Brother Michael Brangman's expression that they feel this hopelessness, the sense that that life don't mean so much, so you could just give it away, right? That's a direct tie-in to this idea of promised laws.
Right.
Because
That's
promise.
awesome.
Jump in.
Yes. Peace and love. Yes. Dropped off there for a minute, but that's also that slave mentality. The sister, the Empress, she mentioned solutions, right? Keyword solutions.
Plural.
Better key letter. that makes it plural, that there is no one thing that must be done, but that's because there's no one person that must do it. Everyone has to do what Michael Jackson said, change that person that they see in the mirror first. So the key is, what are you doing as an individual?
Yes. That's a key piece. That's
right.
your
What are you? Slave mentality or victim mentality is, what is somebody else going to do to solve these problems? When in reality, everyone is either part of the problem or part of the solution. Everyone.
Yes,
so
yes.
I only say that to say there are going to be many solutions and there are going to be many paths. Division is the real problem here. The problem is the idea that we're divided. We're not divided. Everybody's here. Everybody's breathing the same air, eating from the same soil, feeling the same sunlight. We're all here. But if we don't act like we're here together, then we'll be divided. And the divided will get taken advantage of, because the divided is weak.
Mm-hmm. So realizing that oneness is a key piece.
You have to realize who we are and the fact that we're all one nation. But we don't all realize that we are living our life as though we are all individual businesses. So we're really focused on our individual bank accounts, for example. Ultimately, you know this because it comes down to dollars. Anytime anything wants to pop off or happen, let's all be honest with ourselves. Well, I gotta pay this, or I gotta get that, or, it's gonna come down to dollars. Why is this? Because we are living as individual corporations. Ultimately, it comes down to dollars. Nobody is actually giving anybody anything far as goods and services other than dollars, outside of dollars. We live within our own families, so-called families, conflicting with dollars. Dollars lose houses, land, and all that type of stuff. Many of our families have lost because we traded for, the dollars, individual stuff. We're living our life as a business. We live our life as a business because we call ourselves a business. You have to realize the power of words. We think, look, my parents named me Frank. So, I'm going to grow up speaking like I speak. Like I'm telling you, I speak truth, honesty.
Mm-hmm.
I speak frankly. I'm a frank person. People will tell you that who know me, that I'm frank. But guess what? I'm being called Frank my whole life. You don't think that's got something to do with it? You don't think somebody called Sharif is going to be like a sheriff? That's his name. You don't think somebody called John is going to be a loving person? John means love. So we call ourselves black. Well, go see what black means. We call ourselves Bermudian. Well, guess what? Bermuda is a corporation established 1609 and 1612. Which one is it? But we got shirts that tell us that it was established. Well, guess what? Corporations are established. Businesses are established. Countries are founded. So we have to start with ourselves, and that starts with knowing what we're even talking about, knowing these tools that we're using, because we're cursing ourselves right out the gate.
Okay. The use of language, the power of language. Let's go to some comments real quick. Keep your train of thought there. Keep going. I disagree. There is one thing that must be done. This is brother Amwa. The root of self-examination will bring you to the one God that will bring to the one truth and the right way to do what must be done. It is the two rights, it's the two ups, and four downs. Why is there not one way? This European reasoning, it must be tossed out.
No, there is one way. Absolutely. There is one path, and that's the knowledge of self. And you're going to find that the one path leads you to many paths. I wouldn't say one path, because there's actually different paths to the same point. The starting point is oneself. So the knowledge of self is the starting point, and there are many paths that emerge from that starting point. Every man walks his own path. No one man walks one path. That's impossible. However, every humanity has one thing in common, right? So we're all divided after humanity into nations, but humanity is one thing. The proof is a man from one nation and a woman from a different nation can still produce a human. So that means you're the same thing.
That's a key. That is the key.
And that human can produce other humans. So you're not a mule either. So you're not a hybrid. You see what I'm saying? If you're a hybrid, one nation with another nation, and there's a hybrid that comes out, then that hybrid wouldn't be able to reproduce naturally. So that proves that it's not different things like that. Humanity needs to know humanity and stop acting like businesses, all separate and divided, and act for humanity first. Do business, and personal is personal.
Okay, so hold on. So we got a bit of conflict here. We're saying that's not. I'm almost coming back to say that's not what you said. He's using two devices. You gotta come in and come, and then when you can come right in the
okay, please help, please clarify that.
Yeah, come
definitely
in.
Correct me if I'm making wrong. That's definitely what we must do.
Yes, the open space, definitely in this space.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do correct me and show me my errors, because that's something we don't do either. We'd rather talk behind each other's back about each other's errors than to confront. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. Please don't take me wrong. I'm saying this as a people. We tend to talk, we tend to not be truthful with each other, and would rather tell the truth, what we feel about somebody, to somebody else. So please do. I want to make sure that you do correct me if you hear me doing wrong or saying wrong. Where have I conflicted with my own words?
All right, so Sandy says, I agree with you. Your last caller, there are many paths, right? I think that's what he's saying. He's referring to you. That there's many paths, but that they go to the same place. Do these many paths lead us to the same place? Is that a part of
Let's throw another word out there. Let's throw another word out there. Very important one for our people right now.
Okay. All right.
Actually, if you could type it in as one equals the other, right? And we could go into that real quick.
Yeah.
Because yes, there's one point and many paths. You have a starting point and an ending point and many paths, right? So if we look at this word and what it means, we're gonna see that. So we got this word religion. We got this word religion. Now, religion means to bind back. Okay, it means to bind back. That is what the word means. Now, we're talking denotative, not connotative. That means attached meanings, right? We're talking about denotative, what it means, where it comes from. It means to bind back. Now, why are there so many different religions, so-called religions? Well, because there's so many different ways to bind back. What are we talking about binding back to? Well, back must mean from where you came. If you're going back, then that's where you came from. Now, there's so many different ways to bind back, but you're all going back to the same spot. We all came from the same place. This humanity all comes from their mother. Everyone comes out of mommy. period. Okay. Now, guess what? There's a universal womb as well as a physical womb. What we see in the physical is a representation of what's happening in the spiritual. And how does one get back to where they come from? Well, I can't tell you that. That's for each and every individual to figure it out on their own. And we get into issues when we try to push our ways onto other people, because guess what? It's not going to be the same for other people. I truly believe that we only do this out of the need for other people to accept what we're doing in order to concrete what we're doing as being the way or being true. But it's only going to be true to oneself, one's religion.
Okay, so we got Brother Elmore in the room, so that we could get clear. Oh, well, let's jump back out again. So if we could get clarity, and you guys can see where the confusion might be emanating from, and clear that up. Hopefully, if he comes back in. But I see what. Okay, so I'm going to try to connect it back. So what give frame to the overall conversation. So we start off with promised laws, right? When will it end? When will we stop? When will it stop? This losing our youth. I'm not sure why your connection is not stable. When will we stop losing our young people to gun violence? When did it become an option on the table to remove the life of an individual? And what we're connected it to two issues: opportunity in the society, meaning an education and being able to provide yourself with the learning and the training, the skill set to be able to function in the society and feel self-worth. And then, so that's one way of feeling that self-worth. But there's also the outer environment, the culture that our young people find themselves in, right? This society that we've allowed to exist, right? Outside of just the school framework and the structures that are put up directly in the school framework. That cultural piece, how does that inform and educate our young people? How do we dismantle either one of those two? And what you're saying right now is that a part of culture is this idea of religion and tying it all back. And that there's many paths to get to the one source. This is what I'm definitely promoting. And that's what any training or engagement in practical exercises and activities that bring out the individual talents of the young people, but it's all tapping back to that one source, that we are part of this one source, right? We're all expressions of this one source. And the way to tap back into that one source and realize your oneness is through deep breathing and meditation. That takes you back, quiet the mind and all the noise that comes from out of that space. That's what I put on the table. Let's see if we can resolve this issue here. Religion, the real religion plays, and education, and creating that environment. But brother Elmore, you got something to clarify that?
Salam te, please, Hotep. Ashik. Grand rising to all. Most respect to everyone who's involved in the discourse. Very important conversations we're having. And yes, I think I would interject when I totally believe that we must define we must define what are we talking about, right? When the initial comments were there's many ways, right? There's not just one way. So now in the definition of that, we got to remember we're dealing with virgin minds, right? Of being totally trying to be stewards, right? To guide people to the rites of the passages, right? And the rite of passage, right? You got to remember these are people who are coming that we're talking to, especially within the colonial construct. And many of us have advanced ourselves, right, in the journey already. So when we are teaching, okay, when we are teaching and we are putting out information, we must define what we're saying from every step. We must break down every step. We cannot jump over steps and start talking about the paths and the first step hasn't been taken.
Mm.
So no one has stepped, no one starts a journey, right? No one starts a journey on the millionth step.
Mm-hmm.
So we must remember that we must start, and we must stay on, before we even stay on the first step, we must say, what is the first step for? Why are you taking this step? Yes, so we must get to the why, because then you're going to say, well, why are you going there? Why are you going on that path? Now, when we talk, so then that broke down, that needs to be broken down. And then you get to the path, which says, well, how are you going to go? Some travel by foot, some travel by boat, some travel by wheel, some travel by earth, some travel on the wings of the spirit, some don't travel at all and they've been there already. So there are many vehicles. This is where compromise comes. The compromise does not come in when do you start the journey and how you start that journey. Because that's where, if you say, well, you could choose what you want, you could choose what you want. No, it will lead to confusion, which is where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
It will lead to confusion. So you did, brother, you did clarify, you did come back, right, to the space where you should have stayed, in my view. This is just my humble view, where we have to hang out in this beginning stage because people are not ready to take the journey yet. There are many people going back to Al-Kabulin, many people going to Africa, and they're not ready yet. Because there's a cleansing that must be done of our minds, hearts, and spirits in order to even to help Al-Kabulin.
Mm-hmm.
Because Al-Kabulin has been touched even probably more drastic in certain cases than we will ever be.
Mm.
So we must remember, this connectivity to self is only one way to do that. It is only one way, right? Because that was the way from the beginning. Truth is the truth. If we have these truths that we are able to shift from a girth stick to the actual, to a feather, and the feather's gonna break before it contains girth, then is it a girth stick? We must establish these one single principles that we all are going to be able to attune ourselves to, that are unchangeable.
Okay, so let me jump in and let's see if we can bring some. So you're saying there's one step that everybody needs to take. That everybody, that is the truth. That's following the truth and orienting ourselves to that truth.
There was only one door, right?
So if
look at the door.
What's the purpose of having a diversity of beings? Why not just have one being?
No, because you got to remember, there's only one being.
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about? There's only one being.
Right.
Right? Look, the fact of the matter is, the other beings decided that they would stray and move away from who we authentically are because they couldn't control it.
Okay.
We are left, right? We are left with the residue, right, of the throwaway. Yeah, and we refuse to reconnect to the oneness, to the creator of us all.
Well, saying that we refuse, I think is a big one. I think our what promoting her on this is doing that deep breathing that connects us to that one. That's the path that connects us to that one, where you take us out of this mind, this masculine expression of thoughts. This is why we need some more females to participate in these conversations, because they bring this divine feminine energy to the conversation and that healing nature. He went on to say the first step is mother child for everyone, so that relationship is being corrupted, and we could get in onto that. But I just want to state two things real quickly. We're going across 11 o'clock, and it looks like we're just turning the corner to another heavy conversation. No, I'm good. We could keep this going to 12. I'm just putting it to you, putting it to everybody. Are we still engaged? Shall we take this to 12? o'clock. Give me some feedback if people want to stay tuned in and get to another level of this conversation, because we're just starting to we incorporated a lot of I won't say a lot, but some different angles to the conversation. But we are talking about gun violence, youth gun violence on the island. Why are we going astray? How come we got to revisit this conversation every time? And we haven't made any substantial changes. How do we hold each other accountable? Let me bring it to the even screen. How do we hold each other accountable so that we are moving toward their solution-based living, right? That'll remove these issues. Let's go to the comments real quick. Let me keep engaging. Okay, so we got keep going. Courtney, brother Courtney's been here from the beginning. For Kerte, why stop? Yes, because the channel is for the community. We don't have no pressure. That's what fresh to be about. We can continue and keep the conversation going. Sharon Richardson says, continue. All right, so we got an audience. People are tuned in and they want to hear, they want to participate. Let me go really quickly to two comments from Sandy. Many paths, but more important, it's about choices. Right? And knowing your purpose guides you on your path. So I think this ties in. I think that's what reality is about. Reality is about the fact that we come from one source, right? All of us, that mother-child relationship, all of us come out of a womb, which is probably the womb. All of us have this experience here in life, and then all of us return back to the soil and back that we came out of. Hold on, it's just two comments. Let me just
say something on that. I want to say something on that. It's important.
On this one here, because it's got to follow up.
I want to say something on that.
Okay, bang.
I want to say something on it in general, because we've got to go back to the practical way of thinking. There's nothing. See, all these statements, they are advanced statements, right? They're not wrong. That's not a wrong statement. Those are not wrong statements. Here's the piece. If you connect yourself to your alcoholin self, to your authentic self, to your melanin self, you know what you would have? A rite of passage. That rite of passage is it's all going to be one way. There's a rite of passage. And that means that everyone who goes to get to the passage, to the path, to the travel, to the journey, has to walk or go through that same place, that same point in life. It's not a physical place. It's a spiritual place. And our problem is we're getting, like, in these things, we're mixing up this, like we're pulling stuff in too soon. We must deal with what you said, Iman. We must go to these quiet places. We must seek the wisdom of our ancestors and our elders and that are before us, and the God that taught them. They are the carriers and the keepers of this. So without these things, how are you going to be? You can be guided by that spirit in you, but all of that has been nurtured up by the support systems and the wisdom of what comes before us. So if we don't reconnect, first and foremost, to ourselves, to our Godhead, we're not going to seek the wisdom for the journey. There are those who have gone on the path, Brother Sandy, right? I could speak to Brother Sandy from a practical space of how he has been in my life, right? Of helping me start my first business. You see? So this elder right here, I'm not going to disagree with this elder because I know his exercise that, right? And he continues to exercise it. But we're going to now carry a different group of people forward with the right principles and values. Else they're not going to carry the same thing forward. So that's all I'm saying here. I'm not disagreeing with anybody about the difference of choice path, or what I am saying is this: if we don't go to the same rites of passage to arrive before we take the first step, our purpose, he mentioned it, our purpose is going to be out of course. You see? And this is where we're going to end up, in the same place as these fuddy-duddy European, non-melanated people.
Okay. We're following that path. Let me go back to his second comment on that same topic. He said, I've taught many youth in my journey, and those who taught me, right?
See?
So
He
I
said,
hear
those who taught me.
those who taught me, right? So this
See?
No, he said those who know me.
I say, hold on, those who know me. I'm sorry, right, I misread that. So I've taught many youth in my journey, and those who know me know I have. Many of us lost the teachings. We need to reset. So he's talking about that reset. He's talking about going back to the source.
Teachings. He's talking about the teachings. Who does those teachings come from? They came from his elders. They came from his ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot do this in separation. We cannot do this as spirit and without physical. The manifestation of the spirit is in the physical.
Mm-hmm.
These things do not function on separate planes on the earth. We have been taught to believe, right, that, oh, everything's good in the spirit. We're good. No, this is that fuddy-duddy European ideological way that they made you think about a great God in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you're going to truly get to see him is when you go to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one up, but we don't have a problem saying there's only one up. There's only one dawn, but we don't have a problem saying there's only one dawn. But when it comes to us as humans, we can't think so simple-minded. This is the intellectual exercise that the colonial mindset has placed in us.
Mm-hmm.
And we must disenfranchise ourselves from this.
Okay. Brother Frankie, what do you say? Where does that take your side of the conversation? How does that contribute to getting that feedback directly from Brother Elmore? What
Yeah.
would you say?
Okay, about one way of doing. I want to know exactly where you want to know where I believe or where I think or know
So,
the start is
yes.
what we all need to start from.
Yes, it's saying that well, we got the two pieces. We got the idea that we're all one, and we're agreeing. Everybody's agreeing that we're all one, but we got two pieces on the table. Many paths that'll get you to that we're all one, or is there one path? So the first step you're supposed to make is supposed to be already tied in. So we're supposed to stay in this space of gathering ourselves together before we make any choices and decisions. Once we're aligned ourselves, then we're moving together in strength because we're taking that one path, the right, which I think is speaking over the lines of orthodoxy, and that there's a right way. You know what I mean? There's a straight
Yeah,
path.
yeah. There is.
Is there anyone?
If we're talking about individually or as a nation, which one path? Because as a nation, there's something we're gonna all have in common, which will determine one path as a nation. But where we talking about individually, where the starting point or.
Bro, you gotta remember. Okay, bro, beloved, look. If you think about your own alcoholic self, and you think about your clan, and you think about your ancestors, and you go all the way back to where we need to reclaim ourselves before this point, which many people don't know about. If you go back to that point, you only got one right of the coming of age is only one coming of age, right? All these levels in which we do as an individual, you must make that you do have to make that choice to embrace as a single-minded person. There's always been a community that has reinforced this. You see, so we've made this now become a single thing. It's always been a community thing. Yeah, but we've now made it to become this individual piece, right? When you raise your children, when you raise a child, do you say you're an individual, you do what you want?
To an extent, yes.
Yeah, I don't. Everything's to an extent, but you have to answer the core of the question, and the question would be answered with a what? No.
If you do, well, I'll tell you, because I deal with youths a lot.
What sort of youth? What age?
Okay, well, I worked at the community centers, at the center on Angle Street for.
That's far going.
I'm giving you some age.
About a child. You're going to see you jumped ahead. We're talking about the core of raising a child. You do not raise a child. You do not raise a child from birth, right, to do as it wants. You do not do that.
Do, but sure you do. Everybody, because ultimately everybody's gonna do what they want. Now look, you're gonna let me clarify, because you're asking a lot of questions here.
Yeah, hold on.
You have issues if you allow a child to do it. That is a founding. That is a major problem.
No, that's not.
Because because we are stewards. We are stewards. We are stewards, right? We are stewards over those that are to come and that do not know. We are stewards. So if
I was pretty silent while you were speaking, but I'd like to
let him talk. Let him talk.
So that the conversation doesn't get thrown all over the place. I like to have a turn speaking without being interrupted.
Yes.
Done. Okay, cool. So the key is raising a youth to love themselves. Because once somebody loves themselves, guess what? Doing what they want is ultimately contributing to the uplifting of the nation. Now, if you don't know where you come from, see, the first step, we talk about the first step for individual. Now, the one thing that everyone has in common is that they came from the mother. No matter what you call a European or an Asian or whatever, everybody's got that in common. So if we're talking about individuals, we need to recognize that first, and therefore we need to take care of that mother-child relationship first. Because if that is the very first relationship we have as humanity. So if that founding relationship is a horrible one, well, guess what? Every relationship we have going forward is going to be based on that horrible first. You know, they say first impressions are lasting impressions. The first impression we get is the relationship between mother and child. So that is the relationship that has to be not only protected, but nurtured in the greatest sense possible. Now you're talking about individually, what's the first step? Because that's everything we have in common. Now, if we're talking about on this island, well, go forward from that founding principle. Guess what? We're going to deal with our people here, the people that we're right next to. Because we can't help anybody across any ocean if we aren't strong in ourselves here first. I say we, and I'm using that term loosely, because do we even know Do we even know that connection that we have with each other? Really? We don't know it. We don't study it. We only take what we've heard from a little 500-year-old history and try to apply it to a 500,000-year-old history. So let's take care of ourselves here first, and that is studying, opening up and studying. It's actually not getting rid of any European system, because guess what? If you study the European system from a point of nationality, first knowing who you are and who they are, you're going to find out that system was built up by our ancestors too. We're just using tools that we don't understand, and therefore it's benefiting others and not ourselves. So I said earlier, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. And it's another saying that goes around in the Moorish community, which is eat the fish and spit out the bones.
That's not us. It's not ours. It's not ours.
No, it's not, because we didn't make it. However, it was applied here, and we need to know how this tool's been worked on us in order to be able to dismantle the mental entrapment that we're living.
This type of thinking will constantly lead to confusion.
What I'm trying to answer your question as clearly as possible. You asked
but you agreed with what you've done is right. I've listened to you, and you basically have agreed. I said about raising a child. You said the children must be raised and nurtured, right? That was my point. We don't let children grow up in silos.
No, we letting them, exactly, we don't, but we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We are practicing something a system that we didn't create. Here, we're not creating this and we're not running this. Look on the one thing that everybody is using now and everybody depends on, and all movements get stopped because of. And see whose pictures on that, and see what's written on that piece of paper. That is who we're serving. That is the lifeblood.
No, that's who you might be serving. But
no,
what I'm saying is throw that
out. If you're using it, you're serving it. If you're paying taxes, you're serving.
No, see, this is the piece.
Go back and forth.
No, I think the back and forth is good. The back and forth, because you're going to stop at different points. You have to stop in different points, right? Because when you got different points, it's a conversation. So if we look at the different points, if you give room, right, you could hit the different points as you go. If we look at how, if we continue to use these references, this is where it's a distraction to the pureness of where you have to go. If you know something's not good for you, why once you know it's not good for you, do you have to revisit it?
You, me personally?
No, I'm just asking, period. Yeah, I'm talking to you because you know, that's who we're talking about. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about you. So
yeah, so if I know something is not good for me, do I have to revisit it?
Yeah.
As in, if I know information is not good for me?
If poison, if you took some poison, should you take poison again? It was
should I?
No, put you on death door?
Not unless I want to hurt myself. Not unless I want to hurt myself. No.
Exactly. So this is the whole piece about colonialism. It's the poison that we must, each time we come up against a piece of it, we must recognize it and we must put it away and not revisit.
Exactly. So first we have to recognize it. We have to recognize it first. If you don't know it's a poison, you're gonna keep taking it.
But who hasn't felt the stripes of this system already to not know that that's what it is?
Like people loosely talk about the system, do they know what the system is?
It's simple.
Even though we loosely talk about it, it's still pretty vague, isn't it? Because we've been born into this. We've lived this. We collectively don't even really know the system. We just know there's something wrong, you know, but we don't really know it collectively. So
I think we do. I think we do.
So
collectively as a people, I don't think we do really.
Let me jump in real quick. Let me jump in real quick. Let's try to, because I see there's a lot of places where you guys are agreeing. So let's try. That's definitely what I'm promoting dCyfa. So let's get back to the principles of dCyfa. We're having these conversations, these reasonings, but let's see where we line up. Let's build on where we line up. We're gonna have different interpretations of different things. Left them, because I find conversations are more productive when we focus on where we line up and then keep building.
That's an unconfrontational view, but and I get why you would see that, but we must come, right? We do have to come to the place, I believe. We must always come to the place of resolve, right? On knowing which is the right path, which is the right way to go. And if we don't do that, right? If we don't do that, I think we're doing ourselves a disservice. And moving on. So my brother, I heard I
hadn't finished yet. So what we already know that we already know the solution is tapping in and doing deep breathing. We know how to get to the source. This is the intellectual back and forth of my idea versus your idea. I have the answer. I have the answer. Is what I definitely don't want to promote. Is this? So what I'm saying is we know the solution. The solution is tapping in. It's not her. The solution is not in our ideas. The solution is in our liberty and our way of living. And incorporating that into our way of living means tapping into the source and letting thoughts come out of it. Leave the thoughts. Let the rhythm flow. So what I'm going to do real quick is go to some rhythm. We're going to play some rhythm. Feel the music for a little bit. Let that vibe course through your soul. Feel that rhythm. Ride that rhythm for a little bit. And then we'll come back in and look from another angle. Let's try another angle. Because I think we're just... It was interesting for a bit. It was interesting for a bit. Let's see if we could do it a little different.
Yeah,
Change
but
the
I think that you're chopping it off before we get to your short circuiting, right? Becoming as we meet, as we're getting closer. I believe that it's your short circuiting me and this brother in terms of coming to the result, because I think that the one piece, okay, the one piece. This is how we do it. This whole controlling element of how we should be doing it, right? To come to this one piece. Because you're in a this is all a very powerful position. This is all a very powerful platform. And Iman, you know how I stay. And so with that, right, I'm gonna be true to it 100 in that our resolve, our we must be allowed to come in console her. That's what I see this, because this is our authentic self. Yeah. So we don't need no commercial break. What we need to do is continue to bring me and this brother to a place, right, where I know and I feel like, hey, you know what? Yes, this is the teachings that is going to get somebody on the start. And I know that his of the same principles and values are the cause of what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what we know our ancestors are dealing with. I'm in contact with my ancestors and my elders in Al Kabulin now almost every day. How many other people are reaching for that? We must reach in Bermuda. How many of us are doing this? So if we could get to this, that's all I'm saying, right? There's no malice here. There's no nothing like that. But
Right.
what we're doing is, what God has to do these real things to come to the resolution, right? To say, yes, like I said, I have my points where, yes, raise the children. He agrees. You have the support, right? That was said too. So we're aligned, and we are aligned at this core piece. What I'm trying to do now is sure that we need to make a cutoff point before we journey people along. Yes, we must do this cutoff, this cutoff point, and stick in the beginning, because it's a lot of work to be done in the beginning, and because things come conflated, things get confused because not everything is defined. That's all I'm saying. Well, I could discern things, but when we start talking about the path, and there are many choices, there are many things, and there are many. This is where I think people start getting lost, and then we get down the road, and we say, oh, I thought you were doing it this way, or you thought this, and our principles, our core principles are compromised. And that's what usually sets us back all over again. That's all.
Peace and love, yeah, man. So
Rip,
to narrow in then, in that sense, because I agree with you. I see now, after listening and being part of this discourse, what you mean, or what you're putting forward by bringing attention or emphasis to the starting point, where the beginning, because our feet are still standing in that sand, and I'm not talking about the sand close to the water. I'm talking about that soft sand way up on the beach. We're still standing there, and we're trying to push, and we're not getting any type of friction. We're on a loose foundation. We're pushing on a foundation that we're founded in foreign principles. That's our loose foundation there, foreign principles. So we're pushing, and we're not gaining any traction. Things barely get lifted off the ground before it requires too much energy to push a little further. And so, yes, absolutely, that starting point, that beginning, we need to focus on that first. We need to fix the holes in the roof first before we start bringing in all this plush furniture and all this type of stuff. Our roof is leaking badly.
Yes.
So that needs to be taken care of first. Where are we losing all this energy? How is this energy being siphoned out of us? Like, where are we losing this power to? Like, we're powerful people.
Yes.
Where is all this energy going? So we need to identify that first, and ultimately, the child must be protected, because children are the only victims in the world. They're the only ones without any real power to stand up for themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I see the mothers worldwide are holding on tight to their children in a natural resistance against the world. They're holding on tight to their children, and now the other school, you know what I mean? And they mothers generally seem that, and I'm not a mother, so I'm paraphrasing here from just what I've experienced, but they want to fix the schools, they want to fix education. That's a natural, they want to protect the youths. So my starting point, my what I do believe is the necessary beginning is that focus on the youth and basically making sure that they don't get all these holes in the sea.
Mm-hmm.
They need what we're giving them needs to be able to hold up to the weather and not leak. We need to put them on a strong foundation. So that's not what's that strong foundation? They need to know themselves.
Knowledge of self.
So ultimately, we need to be doing this ourselves. We need to govern our own affairs, because only in that way will we be able to prescribe the lessons and the curriculum and all that ourselves. It's not as though people haven't been making noise for generations, right? It's been going on we've been basically shouting in the wind for generations now. Oh, don't build the airport, don't, 1 second.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'm gonna go to the comments real quick. Let me go to the comments while you're dealing with your issue. Yes, Courtney was saying it took me back off and let them come to the resolution, and they came to a resolution. Building. Let's take these identify these principles, find out where they go, and then start constructing our arguments. And when I say argument, I mean the different points, how they come together, because that's the real origin of the word argument. It's different points put together, right? Structure is the logical structure. An argument is one point in a logical structure. So we want to take these points and see how they fit in, because we each have a perspective. So give thanks, Courtney, for telling me back over and let it come to a natural resolution, because I think they did, and they built on their answers. But now we got another commenter from Elder Hiley. He says this is secular talk, secular speak. What the brother is asking is what our problem is, right? Let's see if we can get that. What the brother is asking is what our problem is. Do we know what the system is? Right? I think that's the question, saying, asking that question. Again, why is this even a question? It stems from the miseducation which we force all our children to absorb. That we need to reframe it so that we're not having those issues. So we agree on that. Everybody's agreed there. I think the circular part of the conversation is a result of the fact that you can have different pathways to one solution. You can take different routes. That's why we have indivisible dualities, right? You have diverse people from diverse places with diverse complexions, cultures, lifestyles, right? All over the planet. I would go even further, that all over the universe. Just time separating us, frame of mind. But when we tap into the fact that we have these differences, these varying perspectives, but there's one source, we come from that one source, right? And because I'm standing over here, I'm down Bay, and I'm gonna get to the source, it's gonna be a slightly different path I take to get to the source than somebody that's in town, or somebody is in work, or somebody's in Devonshire, but we gotta get to the same place so that we can work together, so we can build, so we can drive the mission forward. So yeah, I think the circular part is when we start and we stand in our individual places and try to say that we need to focus here now. I think we all need to appreciate the variety in the conversation, and just appreciate it for that it is variety. You know what I mean? That there is diversity. There is a one way. There is a one way, yes, but it's gonna take different paths because people stand in different places. We all can't occupy. Physics says we all
Yeah,
can't
decide
occupy
what
the
the
same
accommodation
place at the
is.
same time. We
You,
can't.
you,
We
you
occupy
have to arrive, but you have to figure out what the appointment is. You know, we
Hold
have to
on.
figure out why we need the car, right?
Right. So
See,
hold on. One more comment.
you have to figure that out.
One more comment. One more comment before we
Yeah,
go
yeah,
back.
go ahead, do your comment.
Yeah.
But
So right.
you know, then you hit stuff.
Andre, yes, yeah, patience. We build it up. We're building up this skill set. We're working on this skill set of being able to have these conversations, but building and going forward, one piece on top of each other, right? So Andre Thomas, Sandy, been here from the beginning. Have the conversation. Yes, he was talking about before. Let it go on, right? Let one think about what has been discussed. Go away and come back. I think we're gonna revisit this on Monday, and try to get Brother Richie in. Because this is a big issue, youth violence and how we solve. 'Cause remember, that's what we're talking about: youth violence and the conflict, and the solutions and the tools they have to solve their conflicts. Why are they going to the gun to solve their conflicts? And we're saying that the root cause is far deeper. That's just the outer blister. That's just the blister coming out on the skin. But underneath this imbalance, your acid base, acid base balance is not there. You're too much sugary foods in your diets. These type of things are the root cause, right? The pimple or the blisters that's just on the surface. So that's I think where the conversation's going, right? We got another comment. We all can't occupy the same space. So keep it moving, keep the conversation driving and going forward. Keep it going forward. So coming back to the floor, clarify your position. You was gonna state something, brother.
To me.
Yes, you was getting into.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a couple of reference points, and I think we must always remember the reference. You know, when we're using reference points, most of our reference points are still, many are still coming from, colonial constructs. And and in my teachings and in my growing and in my learning and looking at even what our beloved elder degree or highly is doing, right, is in the deconstructing of this. Because when we use these words and when we use these things, it's like I come from a place where if we don't have total agreement, then it can't go forward. Because if you don't have total agreement, what happens is that if you and wait, and this is the most important piece, and you leave the one that's in disagreement with you, there will be issues. So either that one disagreement has to be disenfranchised completely from the mission, or else he can take or she can take on the mission, right? So this is something that we in the principles of how we function, maybe is not a part of our conversation. We maybe it's not even in our language. Come see, come some. All these wishy-washy ways of looking at how we come at decisions, because we have adopted a westernized look at what we call democracy. So we must be careful, right? We must be careful as we present ourselves and these solutions to our melanin brothers and sisters who are looking for the way in that. So give thanks for the time, and I definitely would like to continue my conversation with the brother at some point. Always I would like to reach out to him and continue to talk, because there's a voice and there's a leader.
He's in the Telegram. He's in the Telegram. Is on the Telegram platform. Is on the sovereignty conversation. He's one of the major contributors.
No, I'm not got all this, so I would just speak to him off to the side.
Well, I'm saying it's in Telegram, so you can reach him in Telegram.
I don't know what's the name. I don't know the name.
I'm saying I'll forward it to you. I'll get it to you.
Okay, cool.
I get it. I'm just saying it's Telegram.
Yeah.
Keep it going. We can keep it going.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna talk to him, outside of that. But we love it. And to everybody, peace. Salam.
Peace and love, family.
And thank you for tolerating, me.
Hey, man, we must tolerate each other, man. That's love, you know what I mean? Because that's what I'm saying is love and hate. We're either going to give attention and accept, or we're going to give attention and reject. Giving attention and rejecting is hating. Giving attention and accepting is loving, and we need to love instead of hate as people in general. We need to be able to fight at the dinner table amongst ourselves and not outside. You know
This is
what I
what I'm
mean?
talking about.
Yeah,
This,
man, we need that.
Yes, it's a family here. If we are not coming as family, then you are not of us.
yes, yes.
You
But
see, this is like, yeah, this is family. This is like, I'm looking at this like, this platform is not built for anybody.
yeah, man.
Iman knows like how serious that I am about this.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
So give thanks for you. Give thanks, Iman. Give thanks to everybody out there watching. And and peace be with all. And act like you know.
Mm-hmm.
Peace.
Yeah. Give
Peace
that
and love, family.
peace and love.
Peace and love.
Yeah, man. So as we continue the conversation, but definitely we're gonna revisit this on Monday. There's no doubt that we're got to come back to this conversation. It's 11:45, so we're getting close to even 12 o'clock, and we're only scratching the surface of what it's gonna take to really dismantle those pieces that need to be removed, because you got to break the whole thing down to find the pieces that don't fit back into the new structure. We need to, or the ancient structure, we need to reincorporate into our way of being, because it's probably more along them lines that we've already done this before. I put that out into the atmosphere.
Well, it's never ending, right? I mean,
Yeah.
coming back to this, when will it end? It will never end. Really. It's a cycle that's going on and on and on. It will change because the law of nature is change, but it will never end. It'll progress to the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. We find ourselves where we are because of what happened years ago. And years ago set up the situation where we're at now. So when we're looking at a system, we're looking, when we call it the system, change this system, what system? Is only people out there. It's only people. People are the system. And how people are arranged is how the machine will operate. People are the cogs in the machine. It's people. Okay, this system is us. We are organized and operating in a way that keeps us where we're at or moves us to where we're gonna go. It's the people and how they operate. That's why we each individually have to change what we do and how we're doing it and why we're doing it. So you'll hear Morris talk about nationality, because nationality is the concept that's missing here. People are doing what they're doing, but without the concept of nationality, so therefore they're not benefiting their nation, they are benefiting something else. So the system is the arrangement of people and their functions, what they do in society. So when we start talking about the system, now let's talk about the system with a better concept of what the system is and what it's made of. Because you and I are part of the system. Now, how are you operating? And how are you functioning?
Right. Yeah, well, that's a big question. Well, I mean, a big statement. Put it that way. You don't frame it as a question, but what is the system? And what's the rules that we play? And I think that's what Aldo Grio was tapping into, this idea of the system and systems, really. The different pieces that fit together and how the roles are supposed to play the different system operations. As an engineer, I know you got a background in different systems and how you get them systems to link up and work together, right? And to contribute, right? So that there's you know what I mean? So we don't have
a house is a system. A house that you live in is a system. You have a roof, you have a foundation, you have walls, windows, doors, you have an electric circuitry, you know, but let something go wrong in that system, you know, and it won't function properly. Everything in that system has to support other parts of that system.
Yes.
So yes, that's speaking, you know, from an engineering perspective.
But
you know, for the engineers out there with the science mind.
with the science mind.
We are the parts of the machine that we call the system. So let's come out of that victim mentality that there's an enemy out there doing all of this to us, and get into what can we do to and for ourselves. Not what is some, I mean, yes, absolutely. You're always going to have some sort of conflict in nature. However, let's take, for example, you know, not to camelback on this cold and flu system situation that's going on now, but people do get what we call sick when their system, their body, is malfunctioning. That's when people get sick, or what we call getting sick. Right? People get ill when the defense system's defenses are down for whatever reason. They got wet, or you know, they haven't been eating right, or whatever reason, you get ill when your system's defenses are down. So our nation is ill right now. Our system's defenses are down. Simple as that. We got to fix our system's defense. We got to fix ourselves and stop complaining about an outside enemy without building up our own natural defenses. Now, victim mentality, because without fixing what's in the mind, the body will never do. Fix what's in the mind first. And the problem with our people is the victim mentality that we're in. We are not saving ourselves. We're looking for outside saviors and not saving ourselves.
And that starts with knowledge of self.
And it starts with knowledge of self, exactly. We don't even give attention to ourselves. Subconsciously, we are giving attention to everything that is not us.
And that goes back to that statement you hear, where attention goes, energy flows.
Yes, we're attention, and only in that direction.
So if you don't know self, you know what I mean? You can't put attention on self, so the energy flowing to invigorate.
You're still a source of energy. What? Absolutely a source of energy. Now who's tapping into that? You see what I mean?
Yes.
And now we can focus in. Now, where is our attention going? Is our attention going on whatever's in the mainstream? Is our attention going in whatever distractions are being flashed in front of our eyes 24/7? Are we looking at our youth? Are we even looking at them? Or are we looking at them through a screen? Or looking at something else through a screen? Are we even looking at ourselves anymore? So, are we even looking at our surroundings? Like, look at the houses. Are we looking at our house, our yards, and all that type of stuff? Or are we, you see what I mean? We are giving attention outside of ourselves, so we are giving energy outside of ourselves. So we're going to better everything except ourselves.
Yes. We need.
Sorry.
No. I was gonna add in.
Whether it's a love or hate, it's still energy, right? So we even hating outside of ourselves is not loving ourselves. Victim mentality is a mentality rooted in hatred. So if we're constantly saying this person, that person's doing this to us, that person, you know, we're gonna get stuck there waiting on a savior when the savior is within us.
Okay, that's a heavy point. The savior, right? which I think creator, the source, the universe is within us. The source is within us, right? And our senses let us tap into what's outside of us. We gotta learn to shut that down to tap into the source.
Well, also we can look at that as a reflection, right? Because everything manifests as a source that's, or let's say everything physical has a source that's metaphysical.
Mm-hmm.
So when we look at the world around us, we're actually seeing a reflection of the spirit that we are part of. This is what we talk about, things like the law of attraction, and we talk about this is what the whole creation story is even all about.
Mm-hmm.
Start off as a thought, a concept, and then it shows up in the physical. It doesn't work the other way around. It's as above, so below.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning was the word, and then the word is a vibration. Then it becomes the flesh, right? So when we're looking around us and all of our situations and all that, that's a reflection of our mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Because none of this is being done except by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We put ourselves in this position.
We put ourselves in this position. We're not victims.
The only victims are those who cannot do for themselves. So if someone's being forced to do something, for example, or a child who cannot fend for themselves, everything else is really what we want to do. We actually have choice. So we want to register to vote, even though we don't know collectively how the system of governance works. So we put the government of today in that place. We collectively here willingly put the government, every so-called whatever term that we agree to. We are agreeing to this stuff. We don't want an airport built. We don't want middle schools. We don't want this. We don't want that. However, it happens. So, because even if you're complaining that it's we don't want it, you wrote down on the paper that you do want it, because you voted for it. You voted that you're gonna go with what these people say. So let's stop talking about this person did this, that person did that, and look at our own contribution to our current situation. Individually. And guess what? I can't predict what's gonna happen. But no, impossible. However, what we will see if we actually look at it is the majority will rule. And the majority of us perpetuate the cycle, the current system which we are a part of. The system is us. It's not separate from us.
That's a big piece. Now let's transition, because we're coming up to the 12 o'clock. And we definitely know that this topic is something that we're going to have to revisit from different angles, bring some different people into this space, and let's contribute and build this conversation up. Give thanks for your participation today, Frankie Albay,
and love
of the Moorish Institute, here locally and abroad, however you want to view it. Yes, peace and love. Again, thanks for taking that time out. I know you're busy, brothers, but this is a cause that's vital to you, so you jumped in. We're gonna try to lay this out and come back at this Monday. I don't know if you're available on Monday. Let me see. We got Hailey Miriam coming to comment. Hailey, I'm gonna revisit that because it's 11:58. We're gonna pull up. If I pull your comment up, we're gonna go right back into it. Let's bring that back in. Let's see if we get Hailey in here. And whenever we might need to bring this to a different time than the morning time slot. Let's see. so we can get more people involved, because we have to tackle this issue, and we got to get across this space of resolving youth violence. We got to get across that, and we can't get stuck in that it's gonna be a future thing that'll just resolve itself, because evidently it's not, and it most likely will get worse before it starts to get better if we let it just go through natural attrition. But we can also get in that space that we all have the answers ourselves. We need to, what we're trying to promote here in dCyfa is this collective coming together, put all of our pieces on the table and dismantle that system and rebuild this based on the principles that we're all honoring and know that are fundamental to our being. And we do that by tapping into the source. So on that note, I'm gonna raise up this tune and give thanks, brother Frankie, for
Peace and love. Anytime, bro. Anytime I'm available, I'll hop on.
So I'm gonna send that out to you. Let's see if you can participate Monday. We're gonna come back to this Monday, but we may change the time up. Let's see. We'll get the conversation going in the Telegram. People come into the Telegram space. And that was, let me go this way. Give thanks. Come into the Telegram space. Yes, brother Frankie says peace and love to all. Join the Telegram, get involved, look at dCyfa, dCyfa. And when you go, if you're in Telegram already, I'm posted the links before. I could go back to the links that to join in the Telegram conversation. Right? You can join me using this. This is that conversation. Don't use this one. t.me/dCyfa. From there, you can join into the basic conversation, the basic Telegram broadcast group where I put out the links for any conversations that are taking place. Because this one's slightly different than the bio warfare group, so you don't want to be in that conversation. But we've got separate groups going with separate conversations. This one falls further under that sovereignty concept and education, but maybe we'll start a separate group altogether about gun violence and our youth and the pessimism we have surrounding the youth. Why do they have this pessimistic view of reality? Why are they viewing themselves as hopeless and that life's so, that they could just throw it away? Because by killing someone else, first off, they're killing their own brother, and very likely our close relative in Bermuda, but humanity, we're all having the same experience. So that's suicidal. But you're also throwing your life away, because on this small rock, it's pretty hard for you to get away with murder, right? It's difficult. You might try, but it's going to be difficult, but it's going to rest on your conscience anyway. You know what I mean? No matter where you take that. So in that energy, I'm gonna bring up the levels of this tune. This is some dub that we're going to run as a foundation. We use DubTherapy so that we can promote that healing and that positive vibration that we need to be walking in, right? Because the solutions are not going to come from as much as we think it. They don't come from her. This just translates it. They come from tapping into the source. Quiet the mind. Quiet damn thoughts. Let go of this confrontational style of back and forth. Let go of that. Let's find a way, promote finding those principles, those core principles, and then build out from there in unison. But to tap into those core principles, we've got to tap into meditation. So give thanks for being a part of this today. Tune in to Monday. Definitely Monday morning. We're gonna revisit this, and we may take it into and have an evening session on Monday. Let's see if we could go out to cable. If we can't, maybe we just do it online. And we can engage more people in the community that are not available, that are working during these hours, and see how we can reach them. So I'm gonna pick up the level of this tune, pick it up from the top, and let this rhythm play, and then I'm gonna go into my weekend and enjoy my weekend. I hope you enjoy yours. Let this tune, no fear, this dub version, let this run and carry the vibes. DubTherapy. Because we need healing. We need healing. DubTherapy. No fear. I should pull out of that. Give thanks for everybody tuning in. See you Monday.